Welcome to the podcast Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook, where we will discuss the latest and most relevant business strategies to help you do one thing extremely well: sell more homes. We'll discuss everything from business planning to lead generation and conversion to past client customer service and everything in between. Join us for authentic conversations and nuts and bolts takeaways you can implement into your business today. And now, Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our show. This is another episode of Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook. And Kelly, we were talking, I know I usually just surprise you with these questions. And I did kind of show my hand a little bit before we got on here, but I still think it's an important question to ask you. What is the best event you've ever been to? Like real estate event, I guess, not like a concert or something like that, but mine would be Taylor Swift, but real estate event.
Oh, you said Taylor Swift. That's hilarious. My daughter did want to go to Taylor Swift, though, by the way, who's just here in Phoenix a while ago. Yeah. Anyways, the best event. I'm surprised that I'm not surprised because you gave me the heads up. I'm really, really thankful for that. This helps, Elizabeth. But
I know you had to think about it for a minute.
I did because I go to a lot of events and because they're good. It's like you said, it's good for a lot of things, including networking. Obviously, learning, networking. It's the relationships you make, the people you meet, and I would say probably the most impactful one for me was the first time I got invited into the private mastermind of Gary Keller. Gary Keller is the chairman and CEO of Keller Williams Realty. And it's a fine company. I was there for many years and now obviously made the move over to Real Broker for a lot of amazing reasons, better opportunity. But Keller Williams was great. And Gary is just a brilliant, I consider him a mentor of mine. And so anyways, I remember the relationships of the people that I still have to this day from that group who are there or maybe not there anymore. But it just is the people, when you get into a room like that, the people are not dumb. They're very smart. And, I was probably the dumbest guy in there, and so to be surrounded by those people.
Everybody probably has that same thought, but
yeah, well, maybe, I don't know. But I was like, whoa, why am I not doing that? Look at all these great ideas, and everything. So it was awesome. So I highly encourage a friend of mine, Cody Sperber, who is very successful. He said, one time he goes, I fired all my friends and got new ones. And basically meaning the people he was hanging around with in real estate or in his business. He doesn't do real estate sales, but investments and stuff. And when he says he bought new ones, what he means is he actually joined certain groups, networking groups, mastermind groups, whatever you want to call them. And yes, is there an entry fee for those groups? Absolutely. And those entry fees typically are not small. However, if you trust the process and know and commit to be there and be present and to forge relationships and go deeper than just the surface level meeting, it's going to pay off. Like it's flat out going to pay off. And it has for him and it does for, I can't say 100%, but the vast majority of people, if you apply yourself. So that was a great quote. Because I respect him too a ton. And when he said that, I was like, there you go.
I mean, it goes along with the saying of, you are the people that you surround yourself with in every term. So if you're hanging out with the people that you aspire to be like, you're going to naturally get more of their tendencies, get more of their ideas, and be able to share those ideas together. So your friends matter. Who you surround yourself with matters 100%.
Your net worth is directly reflected in your net work, right? So there you go. You have to surround yourself with good people. And again, if you don't know, well, how do it takes a while to meet people and forge those relationships. Yes, it does. But a nice big check will get you in the room with other people who pay nice big checks, and you're all rowing the boat in the same direction because you all have similar common interests. And before you know it, then you go deep in a relationship and you have this really amazing, powerful network that then, gets you to hopefully where you want to go, wherever it is, whatever your goals are. So yeah. Great question. Absolutely. Great question.
Well, thank you. And speaking of events, so, we talked about the very most impactful one was probably, I don't know how many years ago, but probably quite a few years ago for you, Kelly, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. And it still rings out as the most impactful one you've ever been to, which is awesome. But you were recently at another event last week where there was a lot of talk about, marketing that works, particularly like video content, which probably isn't surprising. We've talked about it. I'm sure any podcast around real estate or speaker that you've heard recently has mentioned video in some capacity. And so today we kind of wanted to talk a little bit about what Kelly learned at that event and kind of go a little bit deeper into not just video, not just the marketing, but the actual content, the meat of it. What does it look like? How much should you be sending out? Kind of how you plan your strategy around that. So let's get into it, Kelly. How was the
Yeah.
event?
Yeah, it was great. It was great. It was an event you can come in, you learn some very tactical things, right?
Mhm.
There were some amazing speakers that you have heard of that are very popular, like Tom Ferry, and you have other speakers that are not as popular necessarily, right? Because they run a wildly successful, one or two things, maybe a YouTube channel, maybe
Very
social
niche.
media. Yeah, their niche, whatever it may be. So it all has to do with video and marketing, content, etc. So some of the things that we're talking about there, which are great, is content. Obviously, like you just mentioned, Elizabeth, and one speaker challenged everybody to write down how many pieces of content you are putting out a week or a month. Now, is there a wrong answer if the answer is a smaller number? I don't know. What if you said during a week I might put out 3 pieces of content? By the way, let's back up. What's a piece of content? A piece of content is anything that you put out there on the social media platforms. It could be YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok. It goes on and on, Instagram, Facebook, right? It goes on and on. There's quite a few of those. So if you put a post out there, whether it's a video or just a static post, that's a piece of content. They're making the case that video is much more powerful, which, by the way, spoiler alert, it is, and it has been for quite some time. And so you should get on that bandwagon right now and keep doing that. But I looked up what I'm currently doing, and it made me feel kind of good because we're doing some pretty cool stuff. But the pieces of content wise, we're at about 31 pieces a week, 31 pieces a week across multiple different platforms.
That's a lot.
Now,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot. And now some of these platforms were really more focused on than others. There's other platforms we put stuff on that we're just we're for a specific reason. But we're really trying to go deep on certain platforms that we absolutely love. And number one is YouTube. And so there's so many things that you can do with one long form, well edited video and well produced video to an extent. You can repurpose content over these multiple platforms. So
You
when
don't
I
have
say
to
I'm
think
putting
of
out,
100 different ideas to
right,
have 100 pieces of content.
that's right. So when I say I'm putting out 31 pieces of content, I'm not putting out 31 unique pieces of content. Absolutely not. Yet some of the content is different because it's coming off of one video or maybe 2 videos, and maybe it's being posted on one platform this day, but that same piece of content in short form is maybe being posted on another platform 4 days later or 4 weeks later. Because some of it, to be honest with you guys, is somewhat random. We don't want the viewer, the consumer, to see a YouTube video, let's say, and then when they go on TikTok, they see cut-ups of that same YouTube video they just watched, yesterday. And then the very next day, part 2 of that cut-up, right? And part 3, and it's in a row succession. You want to have context around content. In fact, this is one of the things that Chelsea Pites, who's one of the people that you would recognize with a ton of followers on social media, she spoke at the event, and her big thing was context around content. So here's the deal: if you go out there, if you don't have the ability because of time, because of lack of staff or resources or leverage, whatever it may be, to post a whole lot of stuff right away, that's okay. She built a pretty decent sized following by posting less than 1 time a day. We over here at Cook & Associates, right, and Kelly, I'm trying to post at least 1 thing a day, sometimes 2. But that's my system because I'm in growth mode right now.
And it is sustainable for you. It's something
It
that
is.
you can do, like,
It is
at that level.
That's a good point, Elizabeth. So let's talk about that for a second, because I think that if there are 20 good ideas, and you can, number one, be very overwhelmed that you weren't able to execute on all 20 ideas. To try to execute on all 20 ideas when you're at a certain level might be very overwhelming. That gives you anxiety, right? Like, and then you feel like you're not doing a good job, and that's not the case at all. I would rather have you do one of the 20 ideas, pick one, and implement it fully and execute it on it fully, as opposed to try to do 13 of the 20 ideas marginally and be average at them, right? So I'm encouraging anyone that's watching this podcast to say, okay, where am I at today? Let's take a test. Where am I at? How many pieces of content? And then if the answer is, well, I think it's, on average, two or three, that's not an answer, because now there's no system. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know, you if you feel like it, because you have some extra time, you open up Facebook or Instagram and you post something. Okay,
do the research of how much you're actually doing. And
yeah. So you have to, there needs to be a system behind it, is the point to it. If it's only going to be 3 times a week, that is totally fine. That's completely fine. Make the posts good ones, and think about what you're going to post. Put some context behind that content so it is relatable to your audience, and then do it. But know that you're going to post 3 times a week. So if you're going to go out of town next week, guess what you better do? You better have that content done and scheduled to be posted that next week. Or maybe you're going to do it from vacation because you're going to have Wi-Fi or whatever, right? So, and the content with you on your phone. So that's possible too. There's different ways to do it, but you need to know what this plan is so you know exactly what you're doing. How can you test and improve upon something if you don't know what you're doing? And it's no different in your real estate business when you're working with clients, buyers, sellers. You have to have systems in place to make sure you give them the highest possible service that you can possibly do. You can't do it to everybody if you're just flying by the seat of your pants. You have to have a system to make sure that house that your client is entrusting you to sell for the highest dollar in the shortest period of time has a system that's going through a checkpoint, if you will, a checklist of checkpoints of things that need to get done in order to make sure the exposure is as good as it possibly can be, and everything that goes with that listing and the marketing and the positioning is spot on.
And
so it's no different than that.
The cracks. Yeah.
Nothing falls through the cracks. That's exactly right. You want to make sure, because how can you look that client in the eye and be like, yeah, I did a great job for you, when really there's a lot of things you could have done better. Maybe with your skill set, maybe with the knowledge you have, you exhausted everything you could think of. But if you didn't do it in a systematic basis, then you probably didn't. For example, maybe you ran some sort of online ad for the property on one of the platforms. But what happened when it expired after 1 week? Did you do it again? Did you look at the analytics behind it to see where you could tweak the ad to see how much more exposure you could get potentially? Because maybe you missed the target audience that you thought would be the great audience for that family neighborhood, but for some reason it wasn't, and that something else was trending. So there's so many things like that. So now you look that back to content and you say, well, I need to have that same sort of system in my own business, because that business is how that I'm doing with the content is how people will relate to me, how people eventually want to do business with me, which organically over the long period is going to get you so much more business. It's going to help you grow your business. And the best thing about it, you're going to be doing business with people you like. That's the best thing. Is it me or just me that sometimes you have a client that's just really ornery? And you just, oh my goodness, I just, we're not clicking. They're calling me every 5 minutes.
Personality clashes.
Yes. And you're just like, oh no, right? Yeah, that happens all the time to everybody, the best of us and the worst of us. So what would it be like if you could limit the amount of people, which by the way, probably a better experience for them as well. If they're
going to get the best of you.
That's right. Because you won't get them the best treatment you possibly could. And they'd probably rather have some sort of agent that had a personality similar to theirs, that was whatever it was. So yeah, it's just all around better. And I wish I would have had my eyes open to this many years ago and started this process, but I didn't. But what's the old saying, right? It's a Chinese proverb. When's the best time to plant a tree? 10 years ago. But if it's not 10 years ago,
yesterday.
It's today.
But yeah.
Yeah. So you can't go back 10 years ago unless you have some fancy, time machine, which I'm not aware that anyone has. And if you don't, exactly. Then
I will probably build it. But
then you have to obviously plant that tree today. So, whether you're older and, a new dog can learn, an old dog can learn new tricks. Absolutely. That's true. But you have to want to do it. You have to say, you know what? Yeah, maybe I only have X amount of years left in my working career, let's say, but I'm gonna make the most out of those X amount of years. As opposed to, it's easy when you're 23 to say, well, I got my whole working career ahead of me, so why not? But most people still aren't that smart about it because they just fly by the seat of their pants and don't have a system to execute. Very similar to how compound interest works. But we won't go there. That's a whole nother podcast, right? Compound interest in the ninth wonder of the world. So let's just stick on point here, Elizabeth, and just talk about content. So I'm at 31. All right. What other content could people do, or should they be seriously considering doing? Now, let's talk about like Facebook, Instagram. Obviously, Meta owns both. This is a pay-to-play world. As much as we know and we think that people are seeing our content, which they are for free, right? You can go and post anything on Facebook, no problem. It's a free account. But it's only going to so many people. And if you pay to play, it will go to more. Now, you can go the easy route, just hit the boost, right? The little boost button there on the Instagram, and it'll go boost out to something, right? You put some information in, put your credit card, and bam, it goes out. But if you have time, which most of us do, even if you don't have an assistant or aren't selling a bazillion houses every day, then you should go in there and actually create a system. There's that word again, for the back end of the ads manager to then boost it to the appropriate target audience you want to hit. Then from there, step 2 should be retargeting that same target audience or a different one, your choice. But these are things you should be doing. So Tom Ferry spoke, and he.
Sorry, I just had a question. So for you, when you're doing retargeting, what are you retargeting to? Your website visitor? Like, what are you retargeting to in your Facebook ads? Or what do you suggest people do?
Yeah, so we're targeting with step 1. We're targeting people that currently aren't seeing our content, and we know that, right? With video through plays or just regular, trying to get more traffic, ads. That's what we're doing. And then once we have those people seeing our stuff, they're cookied, and now we're retargeting them at all times on those same platforms. Now we're driving them to our website. So to answer your question, that's what we're doing. And obviously the cookies on there, the pixel, if you will, and we're retargeting them for a period of time, usually 30, sometimes 60 days, at that period of time, to try to get them to just be warm with us. And then we're uploading custom audiences as well.
That's what I was going to ask about. So you can upload your own, your database, the same people that you've got in your CRM that maybe you're emailing or whatever. You can also take that list, upload it into Facebook, and any farm. If you have a farm and you have email addresses, whatever, you can upload that as a custom audience to tell Facebook, this is exactly who I want you to serve these ads to. So
love that. That's exactly what we're doing on the farming. We do a farm of 10,000, little over 10,000 people, and we do the same thing. Now, the email, it all depends on the email address, A, the quality you get, and B, the one if they use that one for Facebook.
Accurate, but
So, but we are hitting about 30% of our farm through not just email, not just direct mail, but also through Facebook and Instagram ads, which is really cool. So it's a multi-layered approach. Tom Ferry spoke, and he called it the lasagna approach, right? There's be multiple, because in lasagna, you have, layer of noodles, and you got some meat sauce or meat, whatever. And then you have layers of noodle again, and then meat sauce, layer of noodle again. So that's what your content should look like in terms of your marketing around it. So he also spoke about a couple of things, lasagna. He spoke about a lot of tactical things too, which we won't get in the weeds here today on this podcast, but you can always call or reach out, and I'd be happy to have a one-on-one and share some of these things with you if you would like. But he did say that, which is interesting, if you have a YouTube channel, you should be spending some money on Facebook to promote it. Now, there's 2 different schools of thought on that, because I've always been told you really want that YouTube algorithm to have a chance to work. Organically. Yeah, and that's right. And he admitted, hey, Facebook doesn't like it. They don't want you leaving Facebook or staying within the platform and going to YouTube. Not at all. But you can pay and do it. And so you should. And so we actually just started implementing that, because we always went with the organic approach. Now we did have people, we did on an email list, right? We did send our channel out to our video that we just did, whatever it may be, out to our list of clients, customers, etc., promoting our YouTube channel back to that. But we would only do that after the YouTube algorithm had at least a week to work. So wasn't able to ask Tom the specific question on this, and someone watching this podcast may actually have the definitive answer, or someone actually, if that even exists. I'm not sure it does, because a lot of opinions on this, but we're going to give it a week. So any video that's been out on our YouTube channel for at least a week, so the YouTube algorithm had a chance to organically do its thing. Then if that, we're going to promote it through Facebook and Instagram as well. So that's something that we took away. Took a lot of takeaways, guys. I talked about Chat GPT. He mentioned that you can have Chat GPT actually study your Instagram account to help improve it.
Well, yeah.
That's intriguing.
Yeah.
And it'll give you some feedback, right? So you could do something like that. His big thing too regarding all this was also, he may have used a different choice word, but his concept was mess around with something different, something that makes you feel uncomfortable. If you're doing the same marketing content, whatever, that you've always been doing, you're going to get possibly the same results, more than likely, right? So go to a different platform, add a different platform, add a different posting schedule, different time of day. Look at your analytics. Where are the people that are looking at your Instagram account actually tuning in from? You can see that on your own Instagram account right there on the app. It shows it to you now. And if most of them are from New Jersey, maybe you should run an ad there. Maybe you should
move your business to New Jersey.
Maybe that too, right? Or maybe procure some content, right? Or curate some content that has to do with how does New Jersey compare to, the state you're living in currently?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, right? And do pros and cons of all Southern New Jersey, Northern New Jersey. I mean, I don't know, right? Whatever it is, I don't know New Jersey, but
pick up on the trend.
My point. Yeah, exactly. And so those are things that pay attention. You should pay attention to, because that will help you. So mess around and try something different. Have fun with it. And you'll see probably results if you're tracking the results and numbers and the analytics on the back end. So yeah, those are the big things I want to talk about. And one last thing. There's a lot of people out there when it comes to content and social media that have a lot of followers, a lot of subscribers, etc. How, first of all, are you even trying to monetize that? Not on the platform. We're talking about with real estate transactions. What and how are you doing to try to get those people their email, get their content, get them to opt into a query, a landing page, give them something of value so that you can hopefully gather their email address. Now you have the ability to then control the message and the frequency that they actually will see when you send it out through your email client. So that's a big thing. So I think a lot of people miss that boat, and he's right, because I know people I was sitting next to, and even myself, we don't always that we're posting, we're trying to.
But what is it turning into? Like,
what's it turning into? Correct. And you hope one day they DM you and they say, "Hey, I want to buy a house." Great. And that does.
You can be a little bit more intentional about getting that going a little bit faster, moving them down your funnel, turning them from just followers to clients, right?
That's right. That's right. That's the idea. Turning them from followers to clients. Elizabeth just said it. That's the idea, guys. And so what are you doing? Think about that. I made me think about it, because we're not doing enough of it. I can tell you that right now. So now we're going to start not hammering people with that, but we're going to start incorporating that into our content, so that people at least have an opportunity to put the information in for something we're going to give away, whatever it may be. And then we have the ability now to have them within our grasp in the email world.
Yeah, absolutely. Which you can do so much more targeted things, or like you said, kind of control the frequency that they are actually receiving stuff from you, not just happening to see it on Facebook or whatever, when you have their email and hopefully their phone number and, all of the contact information in the world. But
exactly.
Great.
That's right.
If anybody has any questions about this, Kelly already said he would love to share more of it with you. Kelly, where can they reach you?
Hey, good old text message is great, 480-227-2028, or check us out on Instagram. Speaking of social media, Instagram at Kelly Cook Homes, TikTok is at Kelly Cook Homes, and YouTube is Everything Phoenix.
Wonderful. And yeah, TikTok, just putting this out there. We don't know how much longer it's going to be around, but if you're not already on TikTok, I think that it's still a good place to explore and be on. And because I think that that's an easy way to get comfortable with making video content as well, is kind of doing it on TikTok first. So just throwing that out there. If you haven't hopped on the TikTok train yet, I would, and start there if you haven't done a whole lot of video before, because it's very short form, very casual. You can make some videos and just blast it out there. Nobody might see it. People might see it. Who knows? But it's a good way to start getting comfortable on video, I think.
Yeah. Well, also too, I was going to say I haven't verified this. I haven't looked into it yet, but there's a new app out there called Lemon 8.
I've heard of it. Yeah. I haven't jumped on the train yet, but heard it.
I haven't either, but apparently that's the new thing that TikTok is trying to steer people to potentially in case they get shut down. So now I don't know how that's going to work.
Be an early adopter. Go on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, how's that going to work, right? If it's shut down because of who owns it, don't they still own Lemon 8? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm just saying. But anyways, that could be the early adoption to hop on if it takes off.
Yeah, absolutely. And totally off topic, but if you are looking to build your real estate team this year, maybe, and just throwing this out there, creating content is good, yes, for your buyers, sellers, getting your branding out there for clients. Also a really good recruiting tactic, right? Whether it is content for buyers and sellers, or it's content that is directed to agents, kind of like this podcast or whatever. But if you are creating content and still making a name for yourself in whatever that content is, it's a great way to recruit agents to your team or brokerage or whatever. But if you're looking to build your team, please go to buildyourrealestateteam.com and download that guide. And we'll stop talking about video now. We'll get off. Next week, we'll have something new for you. Kelly, we'll see you then.
Hey, Elizabeth, thank you so much, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Welcome to the podcast Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook, where we will discuss the latest and most relevant business strategies to help you do one thing extremely well: sell more homes. We'll discuss everything from business planning to lead generation and conversion to past client customer service and everything in between. Join us for authentic conversations and nuts and bolts takeaways you can implement into your business today. And now, Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook.